Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. An investigation has been launched into an early morning crash which injured 6 passengers and 8 crew members on a Fly Jamaica aeroplane. The aircraft crashed 18 minutes after takeoff from the Chedijagan International Airport in Guyana. Details from News Source Guyana.
6 passengers were injured this morning as a Fly Jamaica 757 aircraft was forced to make an emergency landing at Guyana's Chedijagan Airport. The flight with 120 passengers and 8 crew members on board departed Guyana for Toronto, Canada just after 2 o'clock this morning. However, less than 30 minutes into the flight, the pilot made contact with Guyana's air traffic control at the Chedijagan Airport, seeking permission to return. Air traffic control was told that the airplane was encountering problems with its hydraulic systems. In making the return and emergency landing, the plane overshot the recently extended runway at the airport and made its way through the perimeter fence, only coming to a stop when it encountered a heavy buildup of sand close to a ditch. Emergency crews were immediately activated and were able to get all passengers and crew members safely off the plane. News Source spoke with some of those passengers who were on board.
The plane landed and I did feel something like a brake was being put on, and then we passed the airport building.
The pilot said they have to turn back. There is a hydraulic problem. So he turned back, and then coming I could hear the noise, and he said prepare for landing. And then just a few minutes the plane come down and you could hear it land good, but then it go and you feel it jockeying.
The airport was temporarily closed off following the emergency landing, but it has now been reopened. Other flights are now able to land and depart from the airport. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority is leading the investigations. Other international aviation authorities are expected to join the probe.
As Minister, we have designated an investigating charge of the investigation that has been designated, so therefore that investigator from the GCA is in charge of the site until further notice.
Meanwhile, Director General of the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, Nari Williams Singh, says the authority will be helping with the investigation.
The company Fly Jamaica is registered here in Jamaica. The state of the occurrence, which is Guyana, where the accident occurred, they're responsible for investigating the occurrence, but they would invite other parties, such as where the company is registered here, to participate in the investigation. As well, the aircraft is registered in the United States, so they would invite the National Transportation Safety Board of the U.S. to participate as well.
1 man is dead and a driver and a female passenger hospitalized in serious condition after the tractor-trailer they were traveling in lost control and crashed. The incident happened this morning on the St. Anne leg of the Edward Siaga Highway. TVJ's Shamela Pullen reports.
Debris scattered over a section of the highway in Miami Bay, St. Anne Friday morning. Onlookers were standing in awe as the police and firefighters processed the scene. According to an eyewitness, at about 7:45 this morning, a tractor-trailer was heading into St. Anne from Kingston when it lost control. The driver tried to access the escape lane but was unsuccessful as the trailer slipped off the escape lane back onto the highway. It then burst into flames.
I was in my kitchen, right down here, and I hear a sound. And when I look through my kitchen window, I see like something in the air, and then I see a ball of fire just pop.
1 man died on the scene while 2 others are injured. The residents living in the area accused the police and firefighters of not responding on time. These 3 men say if it weren't for them, the driver of the trailer and the female passenger would have died.
The space of town came down at the very moment, right on that peak I hit up there. There's a girl shouting out that someone in here is crying out for help. So by the time when we reach down towards the fire is high like this, I see a Rasta coming out and a lady. The space of time we have to go about 3 of us, 4 of it, to tell. I have to take her up in my hand.
Just come up there, so take her out, I chuck her, bring her come down and so come quick to get her there with her to put her in her car. And then even tap nothing they want to tap her in.
But the police them down there, they don't want to carry her car. We don't have nobody to care about it, because we bring the woman down there and the police them there, but they carry her to a doctor and she alright and she just a bleed. We have to find her, we have to turn up in the middle road to stop people care to put the woman in there.
The resident said it's not the first time an accident has happened at that location, and they accused the authorities for not doing enough to address the problem.
This is the second time now Mr. Truck run off of this escape lane. This escape lane is definitely too short. It needs to reconstruct. It's not good enough.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
The mayor of Montego Bay wants urgent action taken to address urban drift. Urban drift is the relocation of residents from rural parishes to urban areas. At Thursday's ceremony in St. James to mark World Town Planning Day, Mayor Homer Davis said qualified persons need to stay in rural areas to help with development.
What are some of the challenges that they're having? Inadequate infrastructure to include roads, water, electricity, and transportation, which is very important. Hence, these rural folks, they would go back home in the evenings, but the transportation is usually very, very challenging.
The Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch PSTEB of the Jamaica Constabulary Force conducted an operation this week to remove illegal tints in the corporate area. It's part of continued efforts to get motorists to comply with the rules. TVJ's Kirk Wright reports.
Operation No Tint, a move to create safer travel for passengers and public transportation. A team from the Road Traffic and Safety Unit took to the streets to remove all illegal tints from public and private passenger vehicles in the corporate area. Commander of PSTEB, Calvin Allen, says this initiative is to enhance public safety.
When our passengers are in these vehicles, you are not able to see what is happening. And so these are going to be ongoing activities. So our clearest message to the traveling public is that if you don't want to be inconvenienced, do not take one of those vehicles with that dark tint. Right? The person on the outside, the police, whoever it is, should be able to have that sort of an inward view as to what is happening on the inside of the vehicle.
Mr. Allen says the operation will be expanded outside the corporate area. Tints are not illegal. However, the senior superintendent noted that there are several shades of tints that are not allowed for private passenger vehicles.
The focus is on the windscreen, because the windscreen is supposed to only have that 6-inch visor from the top. Nowhere else on the windscreen ought to be tinted. But we are seeing situations where the entire windscreen is tinted in some instances. We have seen situations where the headlamp, the brake light, and even the mirrors of the vehicle are tinted. And so in some instances, we really don't know what these persons are about. So when we see these situations, we have to treat with them.
Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
A 25-year-old footballer who attacked and assaulted his coach with a piece of board pleaded guilty yesterday when he appeared in the St. Elizabeth Parish Court. Eric Sams of New Holland, St. Elizabeth, pleaded guilty to assault occasioning bodily harm. It stemmed from an October 31 altercation between him and the coach at a football match. When mediation was suggested in court, the court refused compensation from the accused. Mr. Sands is scheduled to be sentenced on December 18. The time now for our Fact or Fiction feature, and we're asking, is this fact or fiction? The Kendall train crash happened on January 1, 1920. And of course, we'll tell you the answer at the end of the sports segment of the newscast. In news overseas, thousands of firefighters are battling flames in California. In the north, a massive blaze has forced tens of thousands of evacuations. In Southern California, more wildfires, forcing mandatory evacuations as crews work to save structures from the flames. Details from the CNN.
Paradise lost.
I was sitting there watching TV and then all of a sudden it got dark. And I knew something was happening. I called my wife because she went to work.
Residents of the town of Paradise evacuating as a massive, fast-moving wildfire tore through Butte County in Northern California.
God, those are houses.
Dubbed the campfire, the blaze was growing at a rate of about 80 football fields per minute early Thursday afternoon, injuring residents and firefighters.
It happened so fast. Like, we went outside, we seen smoke, we thought we had time, and then it was at our house. I mean, we had to drive through flames on both sides of the mountain, and it was pretty scary.
The quick spread driven by low humidity and high winds, combustible conditions that led to hellish scenes like this one. A fire-nado whipping up along a burning stretch of highway. The campfire, just one of several blazes raging in the state. In Southern California, 2 other fires charred parts of Ventura County, including one called the Woolsey Fire. Another, dubbed the Hill Fire, spread quickly, forcing mandatory evacuations. Motorists on the 101 freeway turning around and driving in the wrong direction to avoid a massive wall of smoke and fire. Authorities shutting down a section of the highway in both directions due to the Hill Fire, which is expected to tear a path to the Pacific Ocean.
And in sports, spinner Nikita Miller will not captain the Jamaica Scorpions in the upcoming regional 4-day tournament after stepping down as captain. 36-year-old Miller said he would not be able to commit to the team full-time and instead will help a younger captain lead Jamaica to future success.
As a captain, I think I've done enough that a younger player in the team now that I've been around for a little while can take from what I've imparted on the group and take this team to another level. I'm 36 now. I think I've been at my peak, and I'm looking to close out my career now, next 2-3 years, in a role where I can just assist somebody.
And despite going trophyless during 5 regional tournaments, Scorpions head coach Robert Samuels believes Miller's contribution as captain was tremendous.
And then whenever he leaves, we start to lose matches. That's how important a role he played. He led from in front with the ball. He led the team. He spoke with the team. He understood the players. And as a captain, as a leader, he did exactly that. He's surely going to miss as captain.
Samuel says he and the chairman of selectors, Junior Bennett, will appoint a captain in due course, but batsman Paul Palmer Jr. could get the nod due to his previous experience.
When Nikita was there, Paul Palmer was the one leading the charge. Not saying that he would be the man in charge, but I'm just saying he was the one who was leading the team when Nikita was absent or when he left to go on duties elsewhere. But for now, I can't say anything because I haven't sat down with the chairman of selectors and come up with names to send to the head of the franchise.
Finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature, and we asked, is this fact or fiction? The Kendall train crash happened on January 1, 1920, and it's fiction. On Sunday, September 1, 1957, under the guidance of their pastor, Reverend Father Charles Earle, members of the St. Anne's Roman Catholic Church boarded a train at the Kingston Railway Station for an all-day trip to Montego Bay. They were among 1,600 aboard the 12-car train. Each car was to carry up to 12 persons, but on that day, it had about 80 persons. On the return leg, as the train neared the sleeping town of Kendall, it picked up speed and derailed. 175 persons were killed and over 700 injured. The cause of the accident was later determined to be the accidental closure of an angled wheel brake which had been placed incorrectly. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.